Joining me now, we have Vanity Fair special correspondent and host of the Fast Politics podcast, our friend Molly Jong-Fast. So, Molly, social media, I know you've been monitoring this. Many people are heralding Mangione as some sort of a modern-day anti-hero who's waging a righteous battle against a cruel system. An online campaign has raised more than $100,000 for his legal defense so far. Look, America has a long history of glorifying people who take the law into their own hands. And we're living in a moment of intense rage against institutions, against government. How does this play into public sympathy for Mangione?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this when I was reading about it earlier today. I was thinking about, think about all the countries that have had these anti-incumbent headwinds, that have had anti-government movements, expertise. I mean, this really does fit a pattern of a kind of collective rage. And it is, and I have to wonder how much of this is from the sort of post-COVID, the kind of whatever has happened in American life that has made people so angry. But it's also, I think you really have to look at the numbers here. I mean, the United Healthcare's profits $16 billion this year, and there's quite a lot of agita and people denied claims. I mean, that when this came out, the stories that broke were people who were sharing these horrific stories of having claims denied and having relatives die.
Yeah, I mean, Brian Thompson's murder, it has sparked a torrent of fury at the U.S. healthcare industry. We're hearing many people sharing these just gut-wrenching stories about being denied medical coverage. But the amount of outrage, it seems somewhat overwhelming. Have you been surprised at how much there is?
I think there's a lot of anger in this country. I think violence is not the answer. It's never the answer. And it's really important that all of us continually say that, because it's not okay. It should not be normalized. But I think that clearly there is something really wrong with our healthcare system if the response to a violent crime is people just telling these horrific stories, right? I mean, that is a sign that things are not working the way they're supposed to. And look, we have this really good public option, which when I was a kid, we didn't have that. We had just uninsured people. Mm-hmm. So there for sure is an opportunity to make healthcare better. And that was the goal. I don't, we'll see what happens when Trump comes in. It's hard for me to imagine that the person who tried to take away Obamacare is somehow going to make it better. But look, this is what the American people desperately, desperately want.
Well, interestingly, this week also saw the acquittal of Daniel Penny in that chokehold death of Jordan Neely on a New York City subway. Like Mangione, Penny has been celebrated as a hero for taking action in the face of a perceived threat, except in Neely's case, praise is coming from the political right. Look, these two incidents differ in many ways, but do their narratives have common ground?
Yeah, I mean, look, what we want in a functioning democracy is not to reward vigilantism, right? That's what we want. We don't want people killing each other. It's against the law. It's bad. It seeds more violence, and it doesn't solve problems, right? These are symptomatic problems that are happening, right? There's a policing issue here. There's a mental health issue. There's an insurance issue. There are a number of problems here that were solved by vigilantism. That is not what anyone wants. But I think it's interesting and also quite scary to see the amount of anger that the American people have right now. And it also shows, wealth inequality is a major issue. And remember, these people elected Donald Trump to make things cheaper.
But let me ask you about this, though. You mentioned Donald Trump. He has stoked much of the anger towards institutions in recent years. In fact, it helped him win the election. And this week, Trump repeated that he will begin pardoning January 6th rioters on his first day in office. Is using violence in certain situations some sort of a new socially accepted norm? Granted, we're saying never, never. But
never.
How much of this do you lay at the feet of Trump for this, just the way he's gone about things and thinking that he's going to pardon January 6 offenders?
Well, when you read about autocracies and the sort of worst moments in American history, the buildup is stuff like this. So what we don't want pardoning violent criminals, right? There are enough people who deserve pardons, who haven't done violent crimes, right? But we need the law is the law for everyone, and this is how it works. And I do think that, the more we can the more politicians, especially, and Trump has an opportunity, I don't think he will take it, but it would be amazing if he would say, we really need to tamp down the rhetoric. We really need to tamp down the violence. We really need people not to take the law in their own hands. We have huge police departments, an enormous Department of Defense, many, there are many people who can handle crime, and it should not be random people. And I think it's really important to just keep transmitting that message, because when you read academics on this, the worst thing you can do is encourage stuff like this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to encourage you to come back, my friend, anytime. See you soon, Molly. Thank you.